Alright, so we're still solving a 2024 paper 2 math, and this question is on vectors. This is question 3b. Okay, so if you're not able to see clearly the question, I'll repeat the question for you clearly and we'll answer this question together step by step. Okay, so the question reads, in the given diagram, EFG is a triangle. Okay, in which EH, so we're told EH vectors have got a direction implying that you're moving from E to H is equal to 4 vector A, and then EF is equal to 4B. Okay, and then we are told FJ in the ratio of to JG is actually 1 to 3, and then H is the midpoint of EG. Okay, so H is the midpoint of EG. Okay, that's the implication of that statement. And then we are told FH and EJ meet at P. Okay, so the line FH, which is this line from F to H, they meet at a point P there with E to J. Okay, so we are taught to first of all express FH in terms of A and or B. So that's what we have to do here. So let's start. For A, so we're on part 1. For A, we're asked to find FH. Okay, so the way I want you to be thinking of these questions is where there's no vector implies there's no road there. So how do we move from F, which is that point, until we find ourselves at point H is the question. How do we move from that point? So first of all, we can see that if we are to use this path, there is no vector. So we have to use this way. We'll move from F to E, and then from E to H. So we can write that as we have to move first of all from F to E, and then from E we'll move to H. Now the question is, do we know what vector F to E is? Of course we know, except we know it in the opposite direction. We know it as EF. So if EF is actually 4B, the opposite of EF is what? FE, because they're of opposite directions. So implying you can just change the sign. It can become negative 4B. Okay? So this part we found is negative 4 vector B. Now EH, we don't know what EH is. But then we know, if we look at the given information, we know that from E, oh yes, actually we do have it. EH is given in the question, I didn't see that. So we are told from E to H is actually 4A, as we can see. E to H, this part is 4A. Okay, so add 4A. They're in the same direction. We are following the direction. We're not going against the direction, so it remains a positive. So preferably we can start with a positive answer, which is 4 vector A minus 4B vector. That's fine, right? So we've answered the first one. Okay. Now the next part is we have to look at the next one, which is FG. B. So FG. How do we find FG? Okay, let's try to see what that implies. So FG implies we're moving from F all the way up to G. Okay, again there's no direct way of getting there, so we have to go this way to E and then to G. Now the question is, do we know what EG is? No, we don't know, but we know all the way up to H, which is 4A. Now there's an important statement in the question where we were told H is a midpoint. H is the midpoint of EG. So if H is a midpoint, if from E to H is 4A, what do you expect to be the other half? so they should be of the same magnitude. So we're also going to have 4a there. So therefore fg is going to be the measure of f to e. Like I've said again, we have to move from f to e, the first part there, and then from e to g. So fe plus e to g. Okay. Now fe, it's we're going in the opposite direction of the vector itself, because the vector is pointing from e to f, so it's going to be negative 4b. And then eg, we've noticed that eg is actually the total distance, so it's like 2 times 4a because it's coming twice. Or other way, you can say eg is the same as eh plus hg, which are halves because h is the midpoint. Okay, so this part and that part are the same, so you end up with negative 4b plus 4a plus 4a. Okay, which of course if you add together is going to give you 8a and then minus 4b. Okay, so this is just 8a minus 4b. So that's how you handle b. And then we're now at c. For c, we are taught to find e to j. Let's observe the information we have there. Remove some of the things that I've added. So take note, this is f, that is j. We want to find ej. How do we get to j? If I remove, let me remove some of the information there so that we can see clearly. Okay. So we're trying to move from e to j. J is there, e is at this point. Okay. Is there a way that we can actually find that? Looking at the information we're given, we are told we have from e to f, we know it's 4b, and then we know from e to h, we know it's 4a. Now the only thing that is associated with a j is the ratios there. We are told the distance from fj to jg. So if you compare the distance from f to j and then to this other distance j to g, they are in the ratio of 1 to 3. Okay. Now the question at hand is, do we know any of the two, either fj or jg? No, we don't. But then we know the distance from f itself. From f to g, we know. Okay. Now we don't know these in between, fj and jg, but we know the total distance fg, which we're from finding is 8a minus 4b. That's the total distance. Okay, I want you to pay attention there. We've got f, we've got j, we've got g. Now we know that the total distance from f to j, the vector is 8a minus 4b fg. Okay, now we understand that fj to jg, they are in the ratio of 1 to 3, implying that the total ratio is a 4. Okay, so fg itself, the total ratio is a 4. So if we are to find any of them, in this case our area of interest is, if we are to find e to j, we have to first of all determine the magnitude, moving from e to f and then f to j. So from e to f, so ef, when we get at f, we have to move the magnitude from f to j. So e to f, we know it's 4b. Okay. Now f to j, I've said the ratio there. The ratio is 1 to 3. Okay. So if we are to look at fj, fj is getting a ratio of just a 1 out of the total 4. Now the distance itself from F to G was this. So we are trying to say the measure of distance from F to J is 1 out of the total 4 of the distance of FG. Okay, so I can actually even put it so that you understand. The vector Fj is 1 over 4 of the total distance of from F to G. If we're trying to understand from J to G, it would be 3 out of 4. Okay, so now Fg, I can substitute. Fg, we found it to be what? 8a minus 4b. Okay, now let me create some space here. I'll just write the answers for us. Our A answer was 4a minus 4b, and then our answer was 8a minus 4b, so that we can utilize this space. So to simplify our EJ, we have 4b, and then we are adding 1 over 4 multiplied by 8a minus 4b. So multiplying by 1 over 4 implies we are dividing by the 4. Okay, so this 4 into 8 is going to give us a 2 vector A. 4 into the negative 4 is also going to give us a 1, but it's going to be a negative 1. So we don't write a negative 1, we just say negative of b. Okay, do we have any like terms? 4b and minus b can subtract to give us a 3b plus 2a. Okay, so I'll see the answer is 3 vector b minus 2 vector a. So now to just ensure that you're actually seeing what we're doing here, the first one we're trying to find FH, the second one we found FG, the third one we found for EJ. Now part 2, which is the last question, says given that FP from F to P, given that from F, that point, let me use a red, from F to the point P, okay, given that that's a constant k multiplied by the vector FH, using that we should show that EP should be equal to what? 4ka plus 4 mod 1 minus k vector b. So was one of the questions where we already know the final answer. Now all we just need to show is how we can move to get to that point. So just look at what is there. That's EP. So let's try to come up with a formula for finding EP. Where is E? E is there. We have to move from E and get to P. There's no direct route there, there's no vector there. So we have to go to F, since we're given FP, and then move from F to P. So EF, and then from E to F, we have to move from F to P. E to F, we know it's 4B, and then FP, we are given there to be K multiplied by FH. Okay, that's what FP is. Now what is FH? Did we find FH at any point? Yes, of course we did, at A. So we have to multiply the constant K multiplied by the vector FH, which is this one, and that was what? 4A minus 4B. Okay. Now the question at hand here is, can we simplify this? Is a question. Does it look similar to that? Because we have to move from this form to that form. Okay, so let's distribute the k. Let's distribute the k. 4b plus k times 4a, we're going to have 4ka. K multiplied by negative 4b, we're going to have negative 4kb. Okay, I can now create some space from there. So if we try to observe what we have there, what have we started with? There's a 4ka there. So let's move out this 4k that we have in the equation. We can start with it without tampering with it. Then what to remain on the other side, we're going to remain with 4b, and then also minus 4k vector b. I think allow me now to remove what's down there. Are you able to finish up the question from here? So we'll maintain again the first part, 4k, let me write that again, 4k vector a. Now we can see that what they did is they just factorized out the 4 and the b. Okay, so pull out the 4 and the b. What remain? If you factorize from there, you're only going to remain with a 1. There, if you remove 4 and b, you're going to remain with a negative k. Okay, now on the next step, you can just take the b. Writing the b in front is as good as putting it at the back of the brackets. So we can just have 4k vector a plus 4, open the brackets, 1 minus k, and then vector b at the end. So we can now see that we've actually shown. So hence shown. So that's how you answer a vectors question.